From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Welcome to Local Point, brought to you by Strata Networks. I'm your host, Chris Piner. Joining me in the studio today, we have Ron Stewart and Trina Hedrick from Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. It's good to have you both here today.
Thanks, Chris.
And I want to talk just a little bit about you. We've had Ron on here before. We'll talk to him too. But your title is?
Regional Aquatics Manager.
Right, and what is that? What do you do as the Aquatics Manager?
What do I do? I feel like I talk an awful lot. The manager actually has a really great position in the region. We coordinate a lot of the work planning efforts, so this time of year we sit down with the staff and we talk about what we're going to be doing the upcoming year. We've already submitted our hatchery request for 2014, but that was kind of a big effort we went through in December, where we reviewed the stocking list and made sure we had the right numbers and the right waters.
That's what a hatchery request is specifically. Yes. what you want to...
Yeah, all of these waters that we stock around the region.
That's the aquatics part, so it's anything and everything water. Is it streams and rivers and reservoirs?
Yeah, we get to do sampling on all of the streams, reservoirs, high elevation, low elevation. It's our job to know what's going on with the fish. And of course, you can't cover the whole region. You'd like to, but we have to pick and choose. So that's what the work planning effort is to pick and choose.
So you have a team that works with you or under you? And
yeah, there's probably 10 to 12 permanent staff, and then of course every year we hire
seasonal.
A whole slew of seasonals.
What is the region? Are we talking about you said you can't get to everything in the region. It must be very large.
It's basically Daggett, Uinta, and Duchesne counties. It's not exact.
But there's a lot of water?
Yeah, a lot of water, and it's probably the best region in the state. I'm sure it is, actually.
All right, so you mentioned hatchery, and we want to talk about a specific event that is coming up that we want our viewers to know about. Let's get to that.
We'd really like to invite the public out to what we're calling Red Fleet Reservoir Open House, and it's kind of scoping, which is a formal title, I guess, but we're just trying to get feedback on a project that we're proposing. And we're proposing to treat Red Fleet Reservoir with rotenone, which will basically reset the fishery, clear the lake out of all the fish, and so we can just restart. Yeah. We had an illegal introduction of walleye that we first started detecting in 2002, right. And about 2006 we started. They were basically established. We were picking them up in our trend nets. Right. And this is actually a statewide problem. A lot of times people are getting rid of a pet that they can no longer care for, turtles, right. Frogs, snakes, things like that, and they'll release it to the environment, and if there's enough of them, they find one another, they'll become established. In our region, I think our bigger problem is anglers who want to see a specific fish species at maybe their favorite fishing hole.
There have been some who have intentionally moved or introduced a new population illegally.
We see that a lot with bass. We've had, I can think of 3 off the top of my head. We've of course had burbot. They weren't introduced into Flaming Gorge, but they were introduced across into a non-native drainage, and they worked their way down. And a lot of times they are predatory species and can really impact.
Now you couldn't do something like this in Flaming Gorge, could you? I mean, on that scale.
A rotenone treatment of Flaming Gorge.
Wouldn't do, but in a smaller.
No, we have different techniques and tools for different types of waters, basically. And so different tools for illegal introductions include changes in regulations. Right. And I think people will start seeing those on different waters in the future. Like, for example, big sound wash. We had an illegal introduction of both smallmouth and largemouth bass. They were doing great because they were feeding on our fingerling rainbows that we were stocking until we discovered the problem. So
you were feeding them.
Yeah, we were basically feeding them at the time. So until we can treat that water, we'll go to a must kill on black bass. Right. And basically it punishes that act.
Right.
People like to have a catch and release bass fishery, so if you're forced to catch them and keep them.
That's such a fascinating topic. I think we can talk so much more about this. Just quickly and slightly off the topic, what is the strangest thing you've ever found released? I mean, have you ever found some odd creature living in our area that someone introduced?
I've heard reports. You hear about it all the time in the Jordan River, but I can't remember any.
Nothing too
specific
strange
to
out
do.
here.
Well, they've had piranhas and some
have
of those type things. They've alligators have been introduced.
Out here in our area?
Not sure out here on the alligator.
But people have done that.
But there
kind of
was
thing.
a boa constrictor that was
goodness.
quite large that was running around for a while.
And I didn't mean to pull us too far
No,
off
that's
topic, but it
fine.
was I'm curious. What
The
we're
best
talking about is
example
not quite that
the
far.
Florida Everglades. I'm sure most people have heard about
Everything
that.
goes into there.
Yeah, and
Anything.
it lives there because it doesn't freeze.
right.
So, yeah.
Right. All right. So the open house again. Let's get to some of the
Oh,
details.
sure. Right. Yeah. So we are proposing to.
This is something because of the nature you need to talk to the public
It's
about.
very serious, the topic of illegal introductions. I don't think people realize how problematic it is for us. To place where, like say, Bruff Reservoir that now has largemouth bass, but
Right.
it was a trophy trout fishery. You can't have both.
Right.
And so when you're
doing that, you may not see the entire scope.
you don't
of,
realize how
the
many
impact
trout
of it.
anglers there are that are
All right.
enjoying
Now,
that
when
resource.
is the open house?
It's January 16th, so it's coming right up. We'll start at 4 p.m., but we'll go to 7, and it's not...
Where will this be?
Oh, sorry, it's at the Division of Wildlife Resources new office. That's 318 North Vernal Avenue.
Okay.
And if folks can't come right at 4, it's not a big deal. It's pretty informal. We're just going to have the biologists there. They'll each be assigned to a poster that will talk about some of what we've found in our research. So we had a biologist who did her master's work there. She looked at predation and growth rates and things like that. So
there'll be
have a
some people
poster.
here giving some information and
Yeah, but very
informing the public.
informally. And we'll also have people there to capture the conversation and capture people's concerns and questions. Like you said, it's not only serious
Right.
because it's illegal introductions, but it's serious because it's a rotenone treatment.
And what
it
you
is a
need to do
chemical.
to take care of the problem.
It's
All right.
regulated by the EPA.
Well, I might
and all
ask you
that
just a
sort of
little bit
thing.
more about that in a moment. I want to talk to Ron also about some of the other cool stuff going on in the division, and we'll get right back to that in just a moment. We'll be right back to hear more from Ron and Trina after this message from our sponsor, Strata Networks.
Strata Networks is proud to bring the first true 4G LTE network to the Uinta Basin. 4G LTE is the most powerful mobile broadband available anywhere in the world. With speeds up to 10 times faster than 3G, you can stay connected like never before. Video chat without delay, stream HD TV or movies in an instant, and download or upload in seconds. For details, visit us in Roosevelt or Vernal or call 622-5007. More speed, more power. 4G LTE, only from Strata Networks.
Welcome back to Local Point. Joining me is Ron Stewart and Trina Hedrick. We've been talking a little bit about an open house that you're going to have coming up. Let's just hit on those important points again. When and where is the open house?
We'll be having it January 16th, that's Wednesday, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Division of Wildlife new office, 318 North Vernal Avenue. And we just want to hear folks' concerns, questions, comments, whatever, on Red Fleet Reservoir
And give them
fishery.
the opportunity to be educated by some experts that are also coming out as well.
Yep.
So all of this ultimately is so that we have resources to enjoy, right?
Yes.
To have and
We'd like
experience.
to have a great fishery at Red Fleet, again, like we have at a lot of other of our waters around the region.
What should we have in Steinecker?
What should we have in Steinecker?
Yes. We've talked about what shouldn't be there, but what should be there?
Well, Steinecker started off as one of the top trout fisheries in the state. It is also one that has illegal introductions, and bass and bluegill got thrown in there. But now we're seeing some other stuff as well, including things like the green sunfish and some other stuff.
Bullfrogs.
Bullfrogs just showed up in there this year, so that's going to be interesting to see what that does. Because they are also capable of eating fish and everything else.
Oh.
We've got a predator that we haven't seen before,
Yeah.
a new predator in there.
Can those be? I know in some parts of the country they eat.
They can be a real.
Are those the kind that you might eat?
Oh, frog legs?
Frogs?
Yeah. No,
So
can
I
eat
mean,
the
you could
frog
maybe
legs.
get a frog license too. Could you?
I
in
don't
the
think
future,
you need
maybe?
a frog license for bullfrogs.
No, you could just go for it.
You could gig for frog legs and cook up some frog
All right,
legs.
now I've thrown us off again, but what I wanted to really get to is what the people can enjoy this time of the year, some fishing in the form of ice fishing. You've got some.
Yep, I brought the show and tell stuff.
Yeah.
These are just some lures and things that you might use, mostly jigs at this time of year.
Pull some out.
And you want to kind of just look in there.
For
the
ice
smaller
fishing,
ones,
I'm not I haven't done much of this myself. You don't use live bait when you're...
you do, mostly mealworms.
You should not? You do?
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, mealworms and worms are kind of
You
the
just didn't bring
universal
any of those today.
things.
Right.
No, I didn't.
Everyone wants to see
I didn't want
I got it.
Didn't want them all over the floor. and
Sure,
everything.
sure. But, yeah, a variety of...
Yeah, mostly the smaller
Lures
jigs
and
are
jigs?
for the perch and the bluegill.
Okay.
And then as you get into trout and stuff, you start moving up until you get into lake trout, where you get some of these
Some of these?
some really big
Wow.
things that you can possibly be using.
Wow.
And for stuff like lake trout, you want these lighter colors. Chartreuse works well too. Glowing also works. Generally, you want a fairly large jig head on it, so it'll go down into the water column wherever you want it.
Yeah.
They can be down, 60 feet, so you want something that'll
Wow.
drop down to 60 feet. So smaller lures like these are also good. These would be good for burbot. They'd be good for lake trout. They'd also be good for rainbows. And so
And really, right now, ice fishing is...
It's on.
ice
It's on.
fishing is on.
Everywhere.
on.
As of this
Everywhere.
last real cold spell that we just had, every place you can want to go right now has got ice.
You can go, it's safe.
And watch it a
I
little
imagine
bit,
that,
especially
is
out
that
in the
an
middle.
issue? I mean, it's...
You should always be careful on the ice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Watch it a little bit, but there are safe areas on pretty much every place. And so you don't really
How do you
need
know
much in
if
terms
it's,
of
I mean,
equipment.
is it cracking and stuff if it's not safe? Is that how you know?
Well, actually, it'll crack no matter what
No
you do.
matter what. It's cracking.
Storming or whatever.
All right.
yeah.
Well, just be
Just
careful, I
check
guess.
the division updates. We'll
Yeah.
let you know
It's so
how
cold, it
thick the
seems like
ice
you can go
is.
just
Yeah,
anywhere.
you'll probably want about 4 inches of ice.
How thick? I mean, you have to drill down through the ice and
Right.
with an auger, and how far down do you have to?
Well, it
This is
just
not what
depends
you
on
wanna talk
how
about.
much of it's freezing up. But right now, most of these lower elevation reservoirs have around 6 inches, and it's growing fast.
Now that seems safe.
By the end of the month, it'll be 18 inches, and you'll
Really?
want a power auger.
You don't want to do by hand, right?
You won't want that.
Well, there's so much more to talk about. There's always fun things to see and hear about, with from fish to the bald eagle watching day and other things that you're always up to. We just need you back, right, to talk more about this stuff. But enjoy, right?
Always
that's
willing
what
to come
That's
back.
a message for our viewers. Enjoy the wildlife resources in our area,
Absolutely.
and contact these folks. They'll give you great tips and information on what to do, what not to do, and
Absolutely.
how to enjoy it.
And we've got handouts on how to ice fish in our office right now. So if people want to come in, pick one of
very
those
good.
up. It's been written for this area. And so it'll tell you not only what kind of equipment and stuff to wear, to use, clothes to wear, and also places to go.
Well, thank you two for coming. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching today's show. That's all for now. Please join us next time right here on VTV Channel 6.